Hello there you guys, it's Miss Charlotte and welcome back to another video on this channel. It's about to say another episode, well I guess another episode of our 3-part speed build that we're doing on a modern mansion. So in this speed build I'm working on the interior and design of the first floor, or the ground floor I guess, since there's just the ground floor and then the first floor, as well as the outside back garden and patio area. So before I get into it, I just wanted to say and kind of just acknowledge I know what's happening with the whole corona stuff, and I'm just wishing good health to everyone really, and just telling everyone to be safe and hoping everyone is being safe and well and happy, but I just don't really want to go into it because I feel like we just need a little bit more positivity at the moment. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say, and yeah, I guess we'll just jump into this little speed build. So I started off with the little entrance corridor. I liked how big it was because normally it's just a little entrance way, but I actually had room to come up with a few ideas, so I came up with a little table that you might have noticed that I popped in there, and I did some really cool things with those very nice modern lights and put them around the mirror to make it look a bit more fancy, and then I went ahead and did some paintings. I was having a real fuss with lighting in this build, but I ended up going for a mixture of a lot of standing lamps like the one you see in the corner, as well as a few wall ones, and then the occasional ceiling lamp. So there was a lot of light experimentation in this build, but yeah, that was always fun. Also just trying to make sure that all the walls were nice and filled with paintings, because I did end up going with a very white wallpaper for most of the walls, so I didn't want it to be too bland and boring with nothing really going on, but as you know, I like to spice things up with wall decorations and plants, so that's kind of what I was going for in this lovely build, and I didn't want to clutter it too much, but fair enough so it didn't look really empty, like a massive empty space of a corridor. But I did like what this ended up with, just a little, I was just juggling around a few bits and bobs here and there, trying to get a bit more creative with my building, and just putting some nice little succulent plants in the corner over there, and then I went to work on the living room, which I actually really liked the way it turned out. So in my head when I went in, I wanted to make sure that with the sofas, as well as, I don't think I ended up doing it in the dining room with the chairs, but I didn't want it to be all one colour. I wanted maybe to do a grey theme with pops of colour like either mustard or green, because I think grey and mustard are a really nice combination. I think I did go with mustard or a yellow or some sort of orange in the end, but yeah, that's kind of what I went for. At first I wanted a really nice little cosy side couch, but then I decided just to do the standard kind of cluster of a main couch and a small couch, and I think I went with 2 little chairs as well, just to make it a nice little family room, really cozy, and with a nice fireplace as well, and then also a TV. Yeah, there we go. I went with mustard and grey, which I think was nice, with a lovely coffee table in the middle, and tried to make it a bit dark woody in there, but then again I just didn't want it to be too dark, so I did give it a little pop of colour, which I think was nice. And of course, garnished with a few bushes and flowers and plants and shrubs and all sorts. And here you can see I'm experimenting a little bit more with trying to put like miscellaneous objects everywhere and sizing them down, and fiddling with the placement with the whole trick that I learned recently, which I'm sure most builders of Sims have known for ages, where you use, I think it's Control 9 and 0 to increase the height and decrease the height of an object, and just kind of sliding them into position and then moving the table back, instead of how when you normally put things on a table they all snap in certain positions. So yeah, I tried to make that work for me. Also a cute little bookcase and some more lamps. I went for the same style of lamp, which I kind of carried out throughout the house, which I think was quite nice. It's actually really nice. It's quite modern but not too like flashy modern, because it's still got a bit of wood in it. I really do like those lamps. Also I went for something really random with these kind of wooden wall decorations. I don't know even how you describe them, but I ended up putting them on the curved angled corners of this room, and also I found these really cool logs, and I thought it'd be a really nice addition to the fireplace just to make it look a little bit cool. And I prefer it for some reason if the TV kind of was big enough to connect with it, because it's weird having a bit of a gap, I don't know, but I thought it was a really neat idea. I really did like it. And then I decided to try and maybe fit a rug in there because, I mean, there was a lot of empty space on the floor, and I think I went for this one in the end. I'm not sure if I went back and I changed the wallpaper of the living room, but I hope I did, because I don't know, I feel like something a little bit more dark or maybe patterned would have suited this room a bit. The vibe of this room is really cool. I liked it. I think it went together very nice and well, and I tried to make some cool little adjustments to the fireplace. It wasn't too bare. Next, I moved on to the dining room slash open plan kitchen, which I think was my favourite room of the house, including the upstairs, but you will have to wait to see what goes on with the upstairs of this house. But I decided I wanted something really nice and bright, so I went for a kind of, it feels like an outdoor table to me, but I feel like it's too fancy to be an outdoor table, but I went with this table, really nice and glass, which I thought just would mimic the openness and the brightness of the room, and I went for some really nice basic wooden chairs, nothing too fancy, although I was going to do the different coloured chairs for this, but I don't know, it felt like really gimmicky. I wanted to make the dining room really kind of like, not posh, but like fancy almost. I don't know, very classy and glassy. That's what the style of the dining room was. Again, I went in with those lamps, a slightly different colour to the other room, and then decorated a little bit with some banners and stuff, just to try and spice up the room a bit and spice up the walls. Again, nothing really major in this room. In terms of like clutter and stuff, I kind of didn't mind this room to be too bland and open because, I don't know, it was kind of the style I was going for. With the kitchen, however, I went for a less wooden approach and more kind of grayscale, same with the tiles and everything, and the way I wanted to do it was I wanted it to have a breakfast bar, so that, I don't know, you had the option of having a breakfast bar in the house as well as a dining room area. The only thing I find that's really weird when you're trying to put together a breakfast bar with the normal counters, even if they're of the same type and same swatch, there's a gap and it doesn't really fit together well. So the way I thought I'd overcome this was I'd fill the gap with plants, and I went for these little square ones, and raise them. Oh, that kept happening. I don't know why that kept happening. I kept pressing something and it kept taking me to the living room. It was really weird. But I decided to try and mesh together a bunch of these plants, and it kind of looks like a little herb garden. Like, to be honest, it doesn't even look like herbs, it looks like wheatgrass or something. But I think it was a really cute idea, and I couldn't think of any other plant that this would kind of work with, so this is kind of what I went for. And I really liked it. I think it's suited. I just needed to overlap it a bit and try to make it as symmetrical as possible. But yeah, I don't know how this is meant to work with these counters unless you push it in like that, which I did in the end, but I still kept the grass. But I don't know, it looked, I don't know, is it just me? I don't know. I just had a faff with it and I wasn't sure what was going on. And then I went to make some nice counters. The only thing I do regret is that, because I made the whole house angular with not squared, like right angle sides, it's hard to do counters around the corner, and I kind of did want to do that, but in the end it was fine because I just went with a fridge in the little corner panel instead, and I went with some nice overhead counters, and I was just kind of messing with some of the swatches to try and get it all to match. And then yeah, I decided to light it up with some more wall lights, nothing too fancy, and that little overhead steam thing for the cooker actually is a light in the first place, which is weird. That's where you find it, so I kind of went for that. Again, with the living room, I tried to do pops of colour with the seats, which I'm not sure if I went with. Oh, I did. Okay, cool. So there's that pop of colour kind of continuing through the house, which is nice, and I just used some bits and bobs to kind of decorate the area, and as you can see, just trying to make it all nice in its placement, instead of snapping it to the counter, because I don't know, I feel like you can be more creative and have more fun in placing things where you like, and it just looks a little bit more natural sometimes, rather than where EA have made certain things snap. So that's kind of what I went for. Bit of kitchen roll here and there, and some wine, of course. In this kind of house, you need a little rack of, I was gonna say whack of wine. Amazing. You need a little rack of wine. There we go. And adding a plant as well, of course, because plants need to be everywhere. Then I decided that this wall was way too empty and got a massive eggs and oranges. Why is it oranges? Who has, is that an orange? I'm guessing that's an orange. Who has eggs with oranges? Anyway, it's fine. It's beautiful painting. And so I left that there, and that was the kitchen done. And then I moved on to this beautiful bathroom, which I made massive. So there's loads of space to do. I mean, it's like the size of a room, to be honest, like a bedroom. But you know what, why not treat yourself with a lovely big bathroom? I mean, if you're living in a mansion, go all out. So that's kind of what I went for. I went for some really nice kind of seashell-y lights. I don't know why, they just kind of remind me of seashells. And just some minimal wall art just to give them a little bit of something in there. I went for a very like peachy and beige colour scheme in the bathroom, which I like, with some woods and stuff, just some things to put on the walls. And then I went in with some lovely miscellaneous bits and bobs like candles, which I ended up putting on the bath, which I thought was kind of cool. Bit of a hazard, but like in terms of decor, quite a look. And then just some other bits and bobs like towels and toilet roll, all the essentials that you need, and some hand wash, of course, because that's necessary. I was really struggling where to put it on this little sink area, but yeah, I never normally do stuff like this, so I think it's good. I'm actually looking into stuff that, like, things are necessary in certain rooms and trying to fit them in terms of the little things. And then I put a lovely little rug in there. But yeah, it was quite a plain big bathroom, but I don't know, I think if I could change something, I'd probably make it a little bit smaller, just because there's a lot of open space in there, and I don't know, I feel like you just don't really need that in a bathroom. So I don't know, put it in there anyway, just kind of try to fill the empty space with a bunch of weird hanging plants and things, which is fine. We're gonna go with that. It's all cool. There we go, beautiful painting, look at that. Just absolutely solves the empty space problem. And then I moved on to the lovely patio. I definitely wanted a jacuzzi, and I was so excited that I got to fit one in. In the tier 3 tiny house, I built a patio, if you guys remember, I've watched it, and I wanted to make room for a jacuzzi, and I didn't make it big enough, and I was really sad about that. So this really made me so chuffed. I was like, yeah, making a mansion, I definitely can make like a massive patio for a jacuzzi, which was cool, and a little seating area as well. I want to be experimental with the plants here, and I just got the outdoor plants in kind of randomly placed them in little pots, like making them look like they had little like lemon trees or stuff that you get in pots sometimes. And then I made a little like succulent pot, which I think was kind of cool. I don't know, I was just being a bit crazy really. It probably looks a little bit weird, and the only thing is, when you get close to the trees in sim mode or in like living mode, they disappear, because when you get close to the trees when they're massive, they just kind of become, I don't know, what am I trying to say, translucent, I guess, because then they're not obstructing the way. That's just how it works on The Sims. That's the only thing. So it looks like there's nothing in the pot most of the time, but from a point of view where you're not playing with this lot, it looks kind of nice. But the rest of this lot I did make functional, I'm pretty sure. I don't think there was, I did play test it and everything was beautiful, and I honestly think it's a really wonderful house. But you guys will have to stay tuned to see how it turns out, including the first floor. But then I decided to garnish this lovely pool that it took me so long to make for some reason, because I struggle, and yeah, just with some nice flowers and stuff, a little diving board, jumping rock thing, tried to make it look very natural, and added a bit more, just a few more trees and stuff, including some lovely palm trees. But that was it. I hope you guys liked part 2, and stay tuned for part 3. Give it a thumbs up, let me know what you think in the comments, and subscribe for videos every Wednesday and Saturday. I really hope everyone's staying very happy, safe and well at the moment. Just hope to bring a little bit of positivity on this platform. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.